Okay, so today we're looking at x86. I'm not actually going to be looking at any code specifically, just more so how a lot of this sort of stuff functions, because essentially writing code in x86 is just learning new keywords, but knowing how it functions is the important thing. So to begin with, we've got to look at how a computer actually works, or rather how a CPU stores information. So what we have is actually these separate set of storage spaces called registers. Now, I'm going to look at this in a very simple way. We've got EAX, EBX, XCX, and EDX. These are our sort of four basic registers. Now, what these basically are spots for you to store bytes of information, or bits of information really, since generally a register is actually not too large. So what a register like this, an EAX or EBX, it's supposed to be, they're 16 bytes long, and that's cool. That's 16 bits long. That's cool. That's 2 bytes. It's a lot more than what a lot of basic things might need, depending on how you look at it. So a lot of the cases, back in the old days, you'd use just like 1 byte of information, which was cool. Obviously registers only counted for that 1 byte, or were a different size back then compared to what they are now. So we're kind of lucky that our registers are actually bigger now. But anyway, knowing the fact that we have registers, we can then look at certain commands, like that. X's are coming up when I don't want them, and they're not there when I need them. So a command like MOV EAX16 actually means that in that EAX register, we're now setting the bytes for the number 16. So that'd be it, and so on and so forth across here, where we're looking at, well, really just this first set of 4 bytes makes 16. The rest of it, the other 12 bits, are actually just 0. So that's kind of cool. That means that what we're really just doing is pushing bytes of information into these registers. Now, there's other commands such as, add, or sub, mul, things like that. Now we sort of would say that these are our 4 basic commands, because with them you can do a lot of things. Division's actually really complex, so that's why we don't count that as a basic command. There's a lot of stuff that goes into division, where you've got things like mul. That's, whatever's in EAX. Let's say we multiply it by 2. In this case, we've still got 16 in there. We'll use that as a nice example. All you're doing then is adding EAX to EAX, really, which just creates 32. Division's a lot harder and actually keeps track of a lot more things than we realize. You know, we've got remainders, we've got how many times it actually goes into it, we've got a modulus in a lot of cases, and that's sort of pretty annoying. On top of that, we've got comparisons. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's literally just com, and we can be like, you know, EAX 12. Now with that, we've got a lot of ways that this can happen. So what I will then do is say, okay, we compare number 12 to what's in EAX. Since we've got 16 in there, what it'll actually do is, in a separate register, sort of its comparison register, it'll set a flag. It might be that. It might be that 4th bit that it sets. I don't know off the top of my head what it actually is. And that means that 16, well, that this comparison, the number in EAX was larger. I think that syntax is actually wrong. I think it's meant to be com12 EAX. Honestly, I'm not writing the code here, so I'm not thinking that way. But then what we can do is we can have commands like JNE, or I think it's like JLE or GE, or things like that. What a lot of these commands do is they check this byte and see what values are in it, and based on that they will, like for instance, jump not equal. If this bit is what they set for when the number in the register and your comparison number were the same, JNE would check for that bit, and if it's not set, you'll then jump to a different line of code, which could just be ants. If not, it progresses to the next line, which could be, you know, another thing like that, or it could be jump greater than or equal to, which in this case, you know, we've got that bit set. Again, not saying that's specifically the bit. I haven't memorized which bits are set in what registers by what commands. I generally have a list up next to me which can tell me things like that, and it could be jumping to ants 2, which is cool. So already we've got this idea that we can actually set bits with commands that normally won't be set. Some commands, such as division, will have an overflow buffer, which is basically another register that says, hey, we've got a value there. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say for this time, but we'll go further into this later on.